Aloha, my friends, and in today's video, we're going to talk about what an empath is. Now, we all have empathetic abilities, but some of us identify more as an empath than others. And when we identify as an empath, we tap more into that perspective and that energy. So when we identify or label ourselves as something, there is a frequency and a vibration that comes with that identity and label. So it's always something good to look at in life is how am I labeling myself? How am I identifying myself? And are they keeping me limited in a box or do they allow me to be my fullest free natural expression? We're going to go through 5 signs that you may be an empath or traits of an empath. So the first one is when you see others' emotions, you feel those emotions. So this could be either through like TV, someone in real life, this could be a song, a book. So when you actually see someone having emotions, like you see someone crying, you feel like crying, or maybe you do cry. When you see someone get really like motivated and inspired, you feel that too. When you see someone get angry, you might kind of feel that way too. This can be like if you watch a TV show and you feel very similar to the main character, like the way the main character felt in that episode, and you feel similar to that after watching that show, you've actually taken on that emotion and you're placing it within yourself. Now, this doesn't mean you're actually like absorbing energy, you're actually reflecting it. So when you see something of an emotion or an energy, you actually reflect it within yourself. So you see it stirs up something within you, and then your lens or your mental realm, your emotional realm, your spiritual realm, they lay in and create a reflection of that. So when you see someone angry, it's pulling out your own anger. You're not like absorbing their anger. You're actually reflecting it back. And so similar to like you hold on to it versus like cleansing it out. But it's not necessarily that like the clearing out is that you're clearing out other people's things that you've absorbed. It's actually things within yourself that have come up. Your reality is a reflection of your internal world. And so even when we're feeling things like as an empath, and we see other people's emotions and it makes us feel a certain way, we get to look at that and go, why do I feel that way? And does it serve? And do I need to express these emotions? A lot of the times, especially with empaths, if they see somebody angry and they feel angry, or if they feel someone's like laughing and they kind of catch the contagious laughter, generally what's actually happening is the body needs to feel that emotion. There's actually stored energy that needs to come out. And so the empathic ability, this is where it's like a curse and a superpower, is you see it, you reflect it, and you get to move and transmute your own energy that actually serves you. But if you dwell on it too long and play victimhood in and going, oh, I feel sad because I picked up Susie's energy, or oh man, when I was at work, Paul was complaining about, his new girlfriend and all this stuff, and now I'm all irritated and annoyed, and I picked up all of Paul's energy. If you're playing victim, then it stays within you because you're actually giving your power to them. You're saying it's like they're in control of your emotions, they're in control of your life. And it's the deeper awareness of that, like your reality is a reflection of your internal world. So when we see something we don't like, it's a reflection with something within us. When we see something we do like, it's a reflection within us. So what you can do is how do you act when you see someone else's emotions? Now, that doesn't mean that you don't feel sad. If I see someone crying, I do feel for them, but I don't necessarily feel like crying myself. So how do you act in that moment? And do I comfort or do I not comfort? For myself, generally when I see someone crying, if I know them and I know the reason why they're crying, or it's, then I let them cry it out and process it because it's good to let all that junk out and so I'll be the last person to hand them a Kleenex. If I saw a stranger crying, I might approach them and ask, hey, what's wrong? Is there something I can do for you? No, I'm saying you have to do any of that. You can also walk by and go about your day. But it's looking at when you see an emotion and then you feel that emotion, how do you act? So that's like the first practical step you can do with this aspect of being an empath. The second trait or sign that you are an empath is that you're a vibe reader, or a lie detector. What this means is when you walk into a room, you can kind of feel the vibe. Like, I'm sure you've walked into a room before and felt the tension so thick between two people, like you could cut it with a knife in the air. It's beyond that. So it's like you not only do you feel those things, but also you can walk into a room and kind of feel maybe like the temperature of the room, like, oh, people are on edge, or oh, something just happened and people are calming down, or oh, everybody was having a great time in this, and I can feel the laughter, like everyone's in a good mood. Or have you ever walked in on two people talking and you can tell you interrupted a private conversation, and it's like that's actually you picking up on the vibe. Now, the lie detector part of this is that actually people that identify as an empath, there's two aspects of the lie detector. It's that they might be feeling that someone's lying, but because they're also feeling the person's like emotions, and by feeling they're reflecting those emotions, but they are feeling that they're aware of those emotions, they might not believe that that person's lying, you know. And so like this works in the sense of, or the person is lying and they know it very well, like they can tell right away, that somebody is lying to them. And generally in past, they have a hard time lying themselves. Either they're really bad at lying, or they just can't do it. For like myself, like I'm just not very good at it. Like if I start lying, like you'll be able to tell. So it's one of those things that it's hard to do if you're the one that can detect the lies, because it feels so inauthentic within yourself that it's hard to get those lies out. Now, this is something that for myself, and a lot of people kind of forget this, even friends that I've had. But when someone like lies to me, like directly lies or tells a falsehood, I actually feel the temperature in my body change. Like it'll get a little cooler. Like not like, oh, I'm freezing all of a sudden. It just goes down a little bit. I'm just like, okay, a little colder now. All right, interesting, cool. um, you know, literally cool, but I can tell that someone's lying. Now, this isn't a lie that they themselves believe. So, like, maybe they have they remember how something went down, like, oh, who broke up with who? And they have their side of the story. And even if that side of the story is false, if they believe it to be true, that doesn't happen. Like, I don't pick it up as a lie because they believe it to be true. But when someone flat out tells a lie, like, I can feel it. This is something you might be picking up on as well, is that you can feel when people are lying, or you can feel the vibe in the room, very clear, very precise, very very coming forth. And so the third aspect that is a trait of being an empath, um, is that you do feel others' emotions as your own, but this isn't just like when you see it. This is like when you feel it too. So like not like you see someone's emotions and then you yourself begin to feel it. It's the deeper level of like you can feel someone's emotions and you're not actually like taking them on as your own or reflecting them into a greater thing of yourself. You're just aware. When someone's like, yeah, I had an okay day, you're like, was that okay or was that okay? you know you might be talking to someone as they're telling their story, you can really feel how much that means to them or how much they might care about someone. Like when they're talking about their loved one, you can feel how much they care about that person. Or when they're telling about a story from their past, you can tell which aspects of it still bug them and which aspects they're really happy about without them being like, I'm really happy about dot dot dot. You can just feel into it. Now this is good communication, but it's like it's seeing the layer of emotion behind that. Like it's not just listening really well and hearing it really well, it's the layer behind that, which is another trait of being an empath, is being a really good listener. You're good at listening to people. People actually come to you with their problems often. Maybe they say you give good advice or they like thank you for letting them vent. But people like to vent to you. Even sometimes maybe strangers you'll find in like the grocery line, or um, maybe you're at the mechanic and then somehow they're telling you their whole life story, or you're on the bus and that just sort of happens. This random person's telling you their whole life story or telling you about what's going on in their day, and you're like, I just met this person. Or even friends you have, like they come to you as the vent person. Like that's a part of being an empath. That's a sign that you are an empath, or identifying as one greatly, is that you're a really good listener. And you're a good listener because you actually hear them and then feel it too. And then because you can feel it too, you can usually see it from the outside perspective and the inside perspective, and it comes out naturally. So that's kind of the third one, is not just do you see it, but you can actually feel it, and it's not affecting you to where it like throws your whole day off, but you feel it in enough of a way that you can actually serve and give good helpness and connect with them, as well as then you both walk away feeling better about yourselves in the day. And so then the fourth one here is that you're drained by places, events, experiences. And what this means by drained by places, it's like when you go into a store, you might be feeling super drained by it, until you learn to zip up. This is the power of zipping up. Like you can literally walk in someplace and imagine like grabbing a zipper at your lower chakra and zipping yourself all the way up, like one of those hoodies that has like a hood that comes over and zips over your face. And you're keeping yourself contained and protected from other weird energies. And I say weird energies because, like we said, like you might be reflecting things back or feeling other people's things, but you might walk into a store and you feel drained because there is a level of reflection happening, but there is also a lot of energy in that place. So like people generally complain about having to go to like a Walmart or something like that. And that's because when you walk into a Walmart, one, you know the people that are working there aren't really getting a great equivalent exchange. And there's the energy of the store too that is like set up in a way to get people to buy more. And so there's kind of this greed aspect and depression aspect that's there, as well as there is like a hidden of joy and like, well, this is what I need and this is part of survival. And so all those energies get mixed and they actually create like an archon or a thought form that is the Walmart thought form. And so you might feel drained by going to that, not because there's anything within you that's wrong, but there's just that kind of thickness. It's like a thick fog. But then when you get back in your car and you're listening to your music, or when you get back home, it's gone quickly, and so it fades away. Now, if you haven't learned to zip up, it could be something that like, drains your whole day. And it's like, oh man, I went shopping for an hour, but now I've got like, I'm wiped out for the day. And that might be just because your third eye has become so open and is so perceiving of everything. You've actually become top heavy in your chakras, and it's time to do some lower chakra work to kind of balance and harmonize yourself out. So that's something you can do if you feel super drained when you go into places. And as well as like learning to zip up. And then also looking at certain events you go to, like when you go hang out with a friend or a family or so forth, it's looking at like what things are an obligation and what things are that you want to do. Obligation versus want to. And what this means is obligation is something that you really, maybe you just feel obligated to be. There's like a family obligation. Like we call it that sometimes, where it's like, oh, I've got to go to this birthday party. Oh, I've got to go to this wedding. Oh, it's Christmas dinner, or oh, it's, we every fourth Tuesday of every second month we get together for dinner. And so I have to show up to this, family obligation. And it's like that drains you because it's an obligation. So looking at things that you want to do, and you might have to flip sometimes those things into like, well, I want to. It's like, well, yeah, we're going to this family obligation dinner, but there's that one cousin I really like. Or, hey, like my sister will be there and I'm actually close with her, and so I'll be able to talk with her more. That helps with that. But then it's also drawing that firm line of boundary within empathism and within your life of like doing things that you want to. And if you feel obligated, see if there's a way to like maybe not have to do that obligation because it's not serving you, or see what does serve you about that obligation event or that something you have to go to, and see if there is something that serves you. The fifth thing that is here with being an empath, and is a real sign that you are an empath and you're having very strong empath abilities, is that actually when it comes to like animals, nature, innocence, like babies, puppies, any of these things that are like have a really general innocence to them, you have massive respect for. You greatly respect animals, nature, innocence. It's one of those things that you might even hold a little bit above your own life or other people's life sometimes, is like, you're going to go help a little animal if you see it in need, or like you have a soft spot for animals or nature or babies or things that have this element of pure innocence, and kind of the definition of something for innocence to me is something that doesn't know violence, or violence isn't part of their nature. Someone can be a peaceful person, but most peaceful people have experienced violence and know that they're capable of violence and are choosing the peaceful path. But innocence is something that isn't fully aware of violence, or doesn't even know that it's capable of it. And so it's in this innocent state. And so like, that's how animals are. That's how nature is. That's how other things are. Yes, nature can be vicious, but I wouldn't call an animal taking down its prey as violent. I would call that as the flow of nature. From our perspective, from our moral judgment, we might call it violent. So that's the final thing about being an empath, is that you have a lot of respect for these innocent things. And also, at any time you can look at yourself as like when you are feeling a certain way, when you are whether it's an emotion that you saw and now you're reflecting that emotion back, whether you're in conversation with someone or in a store and you're beginning to feel a certain way, you can ask yourself, why am I feeling this way? Does this serve or does this not serve? And what to do about it? What do I need to shift within myself to make that happen? So these are some things to be aware of as you're diving down the empathetic path, or as you might identify as an empath, this is the short version of what an empath is. So hope you're having a great day. I'm going to link up another video here that's pretty awesome for you to watch and goes deeper into spirituality. So enjoy that. Peace, love, and have a great day.